a perfect situation for the Yankees, in my opinion, right? You got Max Fried for the rotation. You got Devin Williams for the back end of the bullpen. Now you got a bat where his numbers are going to be better, at Yankee Stadium, right? So if we take a look here, so we're getting the details coming in. And taking a look here, I believe there's a little bit of cash. Okay, here we go. Bellinger plus $5 million for Cody Petit. And listen, I'm not surprised that if this is the deal. Cody Petit, is that it? Not surprised that that's what it is. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's go to baseball trade values. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. Let's pull up the Yankees on good old baseball trade values here. All right, let's put Bellinger on the Yankees. And now let's put Petit back with the Cubs. What was the deal that I did? I can't remember. I actually went way more than this on the trade that I proposed. I did Everson Pereira, and I can't even remember. I think I did Pereira and a pitching prospect. But Pereira, he's been hurt a lot. So I thought, maybe that could be a guy that you could possibly send back. But I think another trade scenario that I did, maybe in another video, I think I did Clayton Beeter in another one. So that looks like it's more, closer to what's going on here. Petit, 30 years old. And then we had cash, right? So let's do the cash here. Okay, here we go. So you're pretty much at an even trade here for the most part. A little bit of cash that kind of makes up for the underwater contract. You got to remember with Bellinger, right? He is getting paid a lot of money, right? He's getting paid $27.5 million for this coming year. And he does have a player option for 2026. You have to imagine that there's a good chance he's going to exercise that. Unless he just goes off the wall in 2025 here. So taking a look here with this Yankees lineup, you needed a bat like this, right? You're not going to be going with Trent Grisham every day in center field. That's just not going to happen. You needed another one. You needed another lefty bat there. And Bellinger at Yankee Stadium, this is going to be pretty fun, if you ask me. So let me go to StatCast here. Feel like my brain is frazzled at this point because I've been working all day on something and all of a sudden this just happens. CRAZ951, thank you for becoming a member. Victor Burgos, $1.99. Already could have easily made this trade. Sad face. I wonder, it kind of makes me think if this is all it took to get Bellinger, you kind of wonder, were there other teams really willing to take on Bellinger? I'm not sure. But when it comes to the Yankees, right, he does have 24 expected home runs, which is the StatCast adjusted number based off the stadium. So going from 18 to 24, with Bellinger, you remember, obviously, go back a couple of years ago, go back to 2023, he had a very good season, right? He had a bounce back year. He had 26 home runs. So you could, if Bellinger can get back to what he was doing in 23, I don't know if maybe something was off mechanically for him. Maybe he was kind of fighting through some injuries this year, possibly. I'm not sure what the deal was with him this year. Not bad numbers overall, but not those numbers that we saw in 2023. But if he can get back to what he was doing then, you're going to see a guy in that 30 to 35 home run range. Nolan, can you talk about the Cubs' return back? Not too much. Really, you got some depth. Cody Petit, take a look at the prospects report. As of 2022, he was number 18 in the Yankee system, according to Fangraphs. You're not getting a lot of velocity. You're getting a pretty good off-speed kind of a guy, getting a decent slider. A guy that can really just provide you some depth, maybe. The one thing with the Cubs, I've noticed with the Cubs over the years, they tend to take a chance on guys where they if they can try to get more velocity out of them, and for them to bring in kind of a low velocity sort of a guy, maybe they can try and tap into something there, but you're not going to see much at the end of the day. But yeah, he's been a guy that's been in the minor leagues for a long time, right? He came up with Miami back in 21. Didn't really do too much. He came back up again in 2022. He went to Kansas City. Really, I guess he probably had some kind of an injury that year. He only pitched 2 innings at AAA, and then the Yankees brought him in last year. He was at AA. He was at AAA. He was kind of all throughout the organization last year, but he did put up some pretty decent numbers, right? A very small sample at AA, but at AAA, 10 starts. Really, he's a depth guy. I mean, that's honestly really what you were going to get. And, I did look at the possibility where with Bellinger, depending on what the market looked like, I think that was the one thing that could have worked against the Cubs, right? Was the market. Because I don't know, it didn't really seem like there were a whole lot of other teams in the mix. I'm surprised we didn't see like the Blue Jays really try to get in on it. Fangraphs is back up. Thank you. Relentless. Look at that. Cody Bellinger. Look at that. Well, I don't know. This looks weird. So now they have the order here. But Cody Bellinger at 4. They have him all the way down here. So it looks like with I don't know. I don't think Bellinger is going to be batting 7th. You're going to see Bellinger probably I think you could see Bellinger behind Judge, possibly, or in front of him. Or do you see a situation where Aaron Judge goes back to the 2 spot, and then Bellinger will be right behind him at 3? I think that's possibly something. That's going to be interesting. I'm not sure if people in Yankee land have talked about that. I remember with Aaron Judge when they got Soto, another big part of that was that Soto batting second can kind of take a little bit of the load off of Judge, who was getting hurt a lot, right? Guys that are batting second, they get the most at-bats throughout the year. So I wonder what's going to happen with the lineup. Arsing Judge. Robbie, look at Passan's tweet on how the money is structured. So that is something definitely to remember here. So with Bellinger, his AAV, because the Cubs are sending over $5 million, so I would think, is it going to be $22.5 million on the AAV for this year? Because it's probably not counting the option. Well, let's see here. Of the $5 million the Cubs are sending to the Yankees in the Cody Bellinger trade, $2.5 million will cover his 2025 salary. The remaining $2.5 million will either cover the buyout if he doesn't exercise his player option. Okay, that's fine. That's fine with me. So does that make his AAV go down to $25 million? Because that's what, per the CBA, your salary gets restructured. So let's take a look. Well, let's go to the Yankees. Let's go to the payroll. Oh no, the AAV is still looking the same. Maybe they just haven't adjusted that. I would imagine it's going to be a lower AAV. So Nicholas C. Petit has potential. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Kevin Green, Yankees generational fleece. I mean, this is, to be honest, I don't really think you can call this a win, like, for either team. I mean, well, for the Yankees, yes, they're picking up a bat they need. So that's a win. But I mean, in terms of looking at it of, win or loser for a trade, I mean, yeah, would you like the Cubs to possibly get a little bit more? But sure. But that wasn't really the goal for the Cubs. The goal was to get rid of the contract. So I don't really look at it in terms of who won with players and prospects for the Cubs. I look at it because it was a salary dump, But for the Yankees, I think it's great. Chris Hernandez, Jason Dominguez is untouchable. I agree. I think especially that Juan Soto is out of town. I mean, Jason Dominguez, this is his chance to shine for this coming year. Absolutely. I think Jason Dominguez, in a way, is sort of being slept on a bit. I know he's been like a top prospect for like 200 years, but I feel like not a lot's being talked about with Dominguez. Remember, go back to 23 when he got called up, man. This guy was setting the world on fire. I think he's going to end up being pretty solid. Now, he's not going to be Soto, but, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe he just goes off this year. Arthur said, he does get hurt. Let's see if he can stay healthy. But the bright side, he's only just about to turn 22 years old. So that's a good thing. Let's see. What else we got? M. Brandt Walker at first base. Yeah, it's possible. I guess the Yankees, they've been looking into the first base market. Pete Alonso, Christian Walker have come up on the trade front. Josh Naylor has been mentioned as a possibility. Ben Feller, Cubs got cooked. I don't think they did. I think they were just trying to clear payroll. So I think, could you have maybe gotten a bit better of a return? I think the problem is there just wasn't a market. But really when you look at it in terms of value, it's pretty close. You got to think with Bellinger. He was projected for this year. I'm curious to see what are his projections going to be at Yankee Stadium, because he was projected for 20 home runs for this coming year, but that's factoring in Wrigley Field. I wonder what it's going to look like now once you adjust it with Yankee Stadium for half a season. So he was at a 2.3 F-WAR for this coming year, right? That's worth right around $20 million in terms of value, right? Each win above replacement is worth $8 million, right? So right around 2.5, you're looking at right near 20 million. So something to consider there. So that's why I was waiting to see what the money was going to look like. But that gets you pretty close to, getting out from an underwater contract. So, but I think for the Cubs, the fact that you can look at it from this way too, at least you only had to throw in a little bit of cash. You didn't have to attach any prospects or anything. We've seen teams do that in the past, right? Where you have to attach a prospect or two or whatever to make up for the difference in the value. But hey, throw in a little cash. I think it's fine. But Cody Petit going to the Cubs. Cody Bellinger going to the Yankees. I think it's good. I mean, the Cubs didn't need him at this point. There was no need. Well, actually, let's update the Cubs lineup. Let's see what Fangraphs is thinking. Well, there you go. Right? I mean, again, there was no need for him. I mean, Matt Shaw, he is projected to now be the third baseman on opening day. I think that's a good move. There was no need for Bellinger anymore. You didn't need him. I was seeing people, posting lineups where it had Kyle Tucker in it. Like, oh, what do you think of this new Cubs lineup? And I keep seeing Bellinger. I'm like, Bellinger's not going to be in this lineup, So now this is what I thought it was going to be. But we'll see. Are the Cubs done? I think for the lineup, they're probably done at this point. Could you maybe see some kind of a move where it could involve Nico Hoerner? I see people talking about it. Probably not. I don't see Nico Hoerner getting moved at this point. He is going to be hurt or probably miss I don't know. I actually don't know what the time frame is, but he got elbow surgery. I would imagine he's going to miss maybe a little bit of time at the beginning of the year, maybe the first month, I would think. But I don't see him going anywhere because you already moved Isaac Paredes from the infield. So I don't see that. I could see the Cubs looking to add another guy. They've been connected with Luzardo. It looks like they're not really willing to dabble in free agency. I'm not sure what's going on there, but maybe Luzardo could get done at some point. They've been connected. We'll see. Could they maybe go after a guy on the free agent market? Maybe someone like Jack Flaherty. If you could get him on like a 3-year deal, could you see the Cubs do that possibly? I don't see them getting involved for Corbin Burns, someone like that. But they've been looking to add something else for this rotation, which I don't think would hurt the Cubs at all. Now for the Yankees, what's their next move? I think the Yankees, they're going to keep going here. They are very aggressive, man. They are doing exactly what they needed to do after losing someone like Soto. They're having a great offseason minus losing Soto, right? They're doing exactly what they needed to do. What's next? I would say, really, for the Yankees at this point, I think you got to say here, Bregman could really be an option. I think that's a good fit, right? Unless he goes back to Houston, I would probably say that right now when it comes to Bregman. I'd say either the Yankees or the Astros, maybe the Tigers. I mean, I'd love for my Red Sox to do something, but I don't know. They seem to be split on him in the front office, so I'm not really, totally sold on that happening. But I could see the Yankees doing something here. Again, but if the Yankees, if they are more willing to go after a first baseman, they are going to be cheaper than Bregman. That is something to think about, and then you just go with one of the young guys at third base, right? You got Cabrera, you got Peraza. So that's where I'm at. Maybe that's what the Yankees are thinking too. Instead of spending all that much money for Bregman, go spend a little bit cheaper. Someone like Walker, Pete Alonso, or even cheaper than that, go after Josh Naylor, who's not going to be making anywhere near what those guys are going to make. You will have to give up some good prospects to go get someone like Naylor. But I think the Yankees right now, I think the next thing and potentially final big move that they are going to make is adding a corner guy, either a third baseman or a first baseman. I mean, if you add Santander, well, that would mean, that's a possibility too. This is another avenue that you could go. You could do Cody Bellinger at first base, and then you could add an outfielder. Or Zach G or Santander at first base. I think people forget that Santander does have a little bit of action at first. So, not a lot, but he can do it. What will the Yankees want him to play first? I would think it's either going to be right field or first. But or maybe just a little bit of both. Right? Play some first here and there. Bellinger can play some first on some days. Other guy can play in the outfield. But we got a little something from Carlos. Actually, I feel like he put that out there. Baerga did put this out there 4 hours ago. So Hector Gomez just retweeted it 3 minutes ago saying that they're nearing a deal, but that was posted 4 hours ago. So do keep that in mind. Final opinion, I think it's a good move for the Yankees. It really helps their lineup. They need another bat, in my opinion, but they're on the right track. The Yankees are doing good. Say what you will about losing Juan Soto, but they're having a very productive offseason so far.